watching that game film makes you feel a little bit better than after watching UNC?
You know, just from the standpoint of you're happy for the players because, you know, they accepted the challenge. They prepared the right way, and they had success, and they had the mindset that we challenged them to have coming out the gate. But I tell you what, the two games for us is good from the standpoint of they get to understand who they are. You know, you go up to North Carolina, you don't play your best, but you find a way to win. Good teams find a way to win. You know, so they understand, you know, what our program's been built on. You know, winning those close games, and then they have a chance to come back and be challenged. Understand that, you know, our program is built on humility. You know, never really getting too high, too low. Understanding what it takes to be successful, and you come out, you put in the work, you have the right mindset, and you come out versus a very good opponent. You get off to a fast start and able to take control of the game. So it's a good 2 weeks or a good 3 weeks for us since North Carolina, but good to watch that film.
You opened up the playbook a little bit on Saturday. How much was Travis chomping at the bit for that halfback pass?
You know, I tell you what, and I told him, I said, look, we're running it regardless of the half. So you better learn how to throw going to your left, being right-handed. But I tell you what, you know, he had 2 weeks to kind of recenter himself. You know, didn't have his best game up in North Carolina from a pass protection standpoint. Really put some stuff on film that you know he has to improve upon. And so it's good to see him come out with the right mindset. And just overall, we want to be aggressive. You know, let these guys know again who we are, what's made us successful, attacking. And when we get off to a fast start, you know, it puts a lot of pressure on the opposing team. It allows our defense to kind of pin their ears back. And so it's good for those guys to come out and execute those first couple of plays and go right down the field and score on that first drive.
Still satisfied how with the progression of Lynn J as he continues to get more and more work under his belt?
You know, it's good. You know, he's in there on the 10th play of the game. You know, that's something that you guys have been around me that know I kind of want these guys to almost be perfect, which is unfair at times. And I got to challenge myself to put him in there when the game's on the line, early in the game, get him going, and he's responding. And so I'm definitely pleased with his progress. He's really starting to, you know, lock in on the protections, you know, so you feel comfortable, and especially with these odd defenses that we're playing and the multiple blitzes that they bring, feel a lot more comfortable. And you know, we did a good job. You know, found a couple creases, but still had some opportunity. I thought there were a couple runs where he could have had better pad level, a little bit more violence, and we just got done going through a couple of those. And so I'm encouraged with where he is.
Gabby said one of the main things is trying to develop the depth, and that's probably the one area. I guess more so specifically, he was talking about defense, but how do you feel like where the offense is right now?
You know, same thing with us. You know, the big challenge coming out of half was the first unit was going to get another opportunity because I wanted to see how they were going to come out and how they were going to see if they had that eye of the tiger. If they could you know, figure out how to finish off an opponent, we come right out and score. So then we started putting some guys in and didn't quite have the consistency and execution. We were able to move the ball, score a couple points in the second half, but we want those guys to understand that the standard doesn't change, and we're going to need those guys. So I think he may have been referring to the defense, but we still got some guys on offense that we got to continue to develop to give us the depth we're going to need later in the season.
You had another couple of false starts on Saturday. Simpson's third in the last two games.
Yeah.
You didn't really have that problem much last year. What do you attribute that to?
You know, a couple things. Definitely up in North Carolina, the noise was an issue, and just with they were moving their front a lot. You know, showing some motion before the snap that we really just got to lock in on. And then, you know, what happened to us the other day? It looks like they were making a couple move calls, which we knew they were going to try and do, and we tried to simulate some of that in practice. And the biggest thing is just challenge those guys to, yes, we want you to be aggressive, we want you to play on the edge, but at the same time, you got to be disciplined. So, you know, we'll just get back to the basics, continue to challenge those guys, and obviously it's an issue, but we're just going to keep challenging those guys to get better.
T had to leave fairly early. Were you satisfied with Ngata coming in and taking his place?
You know, Ngata did a good job, definitely, and that's something that we've been saying from the beginning of camp is we feel like, you know, Joe's getting ready to come on, and he's got special talent, and it's good for him to get an opportunity to play. You know, made a big time play on the crossing route. Still, you know, good for him to learn too. You're playing against two elite corners, and now you get an opportunity to work on some of your releases in the game when it really counts. You know, not in practice. So it was good for him to get some work. So definitely pleased with what he was able to do with the team now.
Tony Louisville has had a couple wins. He gave up 59 points the other night. Are there some things you guys can explain?
You know, watching Louisville, it's tough to get a beat on them. You know, it's still early in the week. It looks like they want to do one thing starting the season, and now they're kind of settling in. They do some things different from a coverage standpoint than what we've seen the last couple of weeks. So really gonna have to challenge our guys to be locked in. You know, the good thing is there's some similarity in the front. So the last 3 weeks we played a similar front, but they do some different things on the back end. Biggest thing for us is we're going to have to just communicate. Obviously, they're going to be excited to play. I'm sure they're going to have some wrinkles, and for us, they've given up some runs, some rushing yards in some games. They've given up some passing yards, and so the biggest thing for us is if we can get off to a fast start and be efficient, and then just kind of get a feel for what they're going to do. They play some trap technique there to the field, play some cover 2. A little bit more cover 2 than what we've seen, so that's probably going to put us in a situation where we got to be efficient running the football until we can make them fit that extra defender so we can exploit them in the pass game.
Not just as far as X's and O's, but what do you see from them different this year? I guess they really struggled last year, but seem to be turning things around.
Last year I think that at that point in the season they kind of knew something was going on with the coaching staff, and so there just wasn't a lot of fight and effort in them. And this year they're playing hard. I mean, they're probably not the biggest guys. It's a little bit of a contrast, similar structure, but they're going to play their technique different than what we saw last week because they're not quite as big as the guys as Florida State. But that gives them an opportunity to be, to move a little bit more, be more active in the run game. So we're going to have to do a good job of catching movement. But they're just playing hard. It looks like they believe in the scheme. You can tell. I think the video came out of Coach Ivy, and so those guys are going to play with some fire and some tenacity, and that's what you're seeing. They're playing hard. They're flying to the football. I'm still making a couple mistakes that you can tell with the new unit playing together, and each week when you game plan, you're going to have different wrinkles. But overall, they're playing a lot harder.
Have you ever thought about coming out of pregame warmups with a bloody face, like he did?
No, but I know Coach Ivy now. From when he was down there in Naples, when I recruited that area, he's a very intense guy. So I got a tremendous amount of respect for him. And obviously, each coaching staff is going to have their own way of motivating their guys, and that's something that Coach Sweeney challenges us with too. Is make sure we bring the energy. And so he's doing what he feels like he needs to do to get his guys fired up to play, and I applaud that. But no, I don't think that. Plus, I got glasses on too. I got to make sure that I don't break my glasses. I need those to see from the box.
Tony, halfway through this season, how do you feel about where Chez and Mikey are from a developmental standpoint?
I think Chez is running the ball hard. You can see that. He still has to get a feel for the scheme sometimes and the patience associated with it. But each week I see them just doing things that's giving me confidence in terms of and again. Play North Carolina, you play Florida State, you're playing that odd structure. They're bringing boundary pressures with the corner, they're bringing boundary pressures with the safety, they're bringing field pressures with the safety, and that falls on the back's plate. So I'm starting to see that things are slowing down a little bit for them. And I would say for freshmen, they're probably ahead, of where a lot of freshmen are. But they still got two really good guys in front of them and you're still trying to get Linjay reps. So it's tough to get those guys in there. But I was glad that they were able to get in there. Both had like 10 or 12 plays apiece. So that was good.
Coach, Luke Price has been the lead blocker for Trevor his last couple rush TDs. With Galloway out this season and trying to develop a couple young tight ends, how important has he been making the transition from linebacker to tight end?
I think Luke, that's what he brings. He brings that mentality, man. He's just a trash man. I mean, he's going to do all the dirty work. Good to see him make that catch. He made a tough catch and be rewarded for that. But that's just what he brings to us, and kind of like what Garrett filled that role. And so we have the ability, the guys that can be a true H-back, play in space, create matchups in the passing game, and then you still need that thumper as well. And he's improving in the passing game to be able to play in all situations. So that's been big. And then obviously Davis is doing a good job too. And I felt like J.C. Chalk made a good step in the last game. Just really trying to be a lot more physical at the point of attack. And I thought that the offensive line, if you go and watch the game, that's what I was most pleased with. We knew that we were playing 306, 340, 311. You said, man, these guys are going to be tough to move. And it seems like just about every play, they recreated a line of scrimmage with the help of the tight ends as well. So pleased with what Luke brings. And I think what that's done is that's made Davis, understand the physicality that you got to play with. Same thing with JC. So he's making those guys better.
Tony, you talked about kind of challenging the guys to remember why Clemson's been successful, play aggressive. Why do you think they needed a reminder? Is it because maybe there are so many guys who've never lost a game in college that you have to stay on top of that?
Well, you got a lot of guys too that just got here. Yeah. And you look at, and I think I mentioned it last time we talked about Trevor. Since Trevor was started, I think he's won every game by like 14 points. Every game he's finished, he's won by 14 points. So he hadn't had much adversity other than a little bit of adversity at Syracuse when he got hurt last year. So a lot of guys just haven't been in that situation. And then too, you win 20 games in a row. You know, sometimes the older guys, they just, hey, this is what we do. Well, this is what we do, but it's got to be mental Monday. It can't just be, well, this is what we do on Monday. And then this is mental Monday. This is Tanoga Tuesday, and really just re-emphasizing those core values and that, and then the one-game season mentality too, that windshield mentality. So it's always good for all of us, you know, even adults as coaches, to make sure that we're reminded of having that intense focus every single day. And one of the hardest things to do in life for any of us is to handle success. You know, I think when you're chasing success, you know, that's the easy part, you know, because you're driven and you're focused and your mind is always set on it. But when you've had success, sometimes it's easy to just, okay, it's just going to happen. And that's why it's a good reminder for them to be up in North Carolina and then be reminded that, hey, we got what it takes to win. A lot of teams will probably lose in that situation, but we found a way to win. And then now, this is really what we are. You know, if we respect the process and handle it the right way, this is what we're capable of.
I mean, you've been part of this run for quite a while now. Do you ever catch yourself thinking, hey, it's just going to happen? It's going to happen because we've made it happen so many other times.
You know, as a coach, it's hard. It's hard because I mean we live and die on it, and we understand we're dealing with young people too, and so that puts a tremendous amount of pressure on ourselves to make sure that we're practicing what we preach. You know what I'm saying? But there's any human being is going to have a moment or two, you know what I'm saying, where they might not be the sharpest, but it's always good to have that reminder.
I think Jalen Lay had played the last couple of games. He was a guy y'all were excited about out of fall camp. How's he doing progressing here? Are y'all looking at redshirt?
You know, he's a guy that's progressing, and I think that Davis was out early in camp, and then I think just Davis.